Perfect.
Okay, cool. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dana. I am a doctor of clinical nutrition, but my specialization is in functional medicine and detoxification specifically. So today we're going to talk about the benefits of detoxification and just how you can use detoxification to benefit your health. Before I begin, I'm just going to ask everyone to mute themselves. That way we don't have any feedback coming in. Let's see. And okay, I think we're good. Let's see. All right, so why detox? There are over 80,000 chemicals that are approved for use in the US, and about 2,000 more get added every year. So we really are surrounded by chemicals. It's in our food, it's in our beauty products, it's in our household cleaners, it's in our furniture, it's everywhere. So it's really important that our body has the ability to get rid of these toxins so that they don't just pile up and cause issues with our health. Our environment, our beauty products, our cleaners, even our furniture contains these toxins, and then they build up, and that's what really causes the damage. So again, if you didn't get this already, we are surrounded by toxins. I can't stress this enough because it's a huge part of detoxification. A lot of purists, there's some doctors out there that will say your body has all it needs to detox. Detoxing's a myth, you don't need to detox. That is completely untrue. Maybe when we were cavemen and we didn't have, the Industrial Revolution or any of the fun, fancy things that we have now, sure, maybe we didn't need to detox. But because we are surrounded by so many toxins, we need to help our bodies be able to detox. So if you're thinking about food, some things like food additives, flavors, that ingredient that says natural flavors, that's not really natural. It's a ton of different chemicals combined to make a flavoring. Colors, red 40, blue 5, yellow 5, all those different colorings that you see, those are all chemicals. Even our salts can contain some toxins because sea salt now, we are finding has a lot of microplastics in it, which is not good for our health. Sugar is itself a toxin. Our produce has herbicides, pesticides, and so much of our food is contained in plastics, and those containers can actually leach chemicals into our food. Our environment, we have air pollution, we have city living, which causes asthma and a lot of other issues. We are seeing so much plastic in our ocean, and it goes into our food due to the salt. We've got mold, we've got dust, we've got motor vehicle fumes, planes. If you're someone who lives near an airport, there's a lot of toxins in plane fuel. In our beauty products, we see things called like fragrance. That's a ton of chemicals that can cause a lot of hormone disruption. You see that in your lotion, in your makeups. Shampoo and conditioner can contain a lot of toxins. Deodorant can contain a lot of toxins, and that goes in a very sensitive spot, which is right here, which is connected to our lymph. So that can actually circulate through your body and can be very dangerous. Tampons, if you're female and you use tampons, they are soaked in different chemicals. And even our soap. Our household appliances, we've got volatile organic compounds, which are VOCs. That's in everything from your electric appliances, your beds, your furniture, your cleaning supplies. You have to be very careful when you clean, especially if you're using bleach. If you get it on your hands, you're going to absorb it. Your electronics, things like Wi-Fi and 5G. We're hearing a lot about the 5G right now. Those can all cause disruptions in your body's normal way of signaling. If you think about it this way, your body runs on electricity. Your neurons firing, your cells, all of that is electric. It's electricity. So when you have something that disrupts electricity, or something like Wi-Fi or the 5G network, that affects your body, whether you can feel it or not. It does affect your body. And there are some people who are very, very sensitive to it. And then you think about the whole state of the world right now. There is a lot of transformation, there's a lot of stress, a lot of people who are very anxious, a lot of things are kind of coming up, some issues, that we haven't really addressed in 50, 60, 70 years. So all of these types of emotions and everything that can really affect your body and your health, and just like your mental health as well. So the reason why I love detoxification so much as a topic is because it's not just about the food or the chemicals, or things like that. There's also a huge like spiritual and mental health component to it, which is what I love to kind of combine together for just this whole body and mind and spiritual health that you can achieve. So the EPA estimates that the EPA is the Environmental Protection Agency. So they estimate about 4.7 billion pounds of toxic chemicals are released into the environment each year. So that is a lot of chemicals. There's been multiple studies done where we've drawn blood from both newborn babies and older humans, and they have found that every one of us has about 700 different chemicals floating around in your bloodstream right now. Babies, even when they are first born, the first blood draw, minutes after they're born, they have about 200 different toxins in their blood at birth. So what this is showing us is that not only do we have these toxins as we get older, we kind of store them, but also they're being passed through the placenta into our young, which is really dangerous because we don't know what these toxins do down the line, and we're not really sure how they affect babies, whether it's hormone disruption, issues such as like birth defects. There's so many different things that can go wrong. We see a lot of ADHD, which is a very interesting disease or issue that a lot of us have contributed to the increasing amount of chemicals. And there's a lot of studies that show ADHD and autism in particular can respond when you take out chemicals and give a very elimination diet that's very clean and can kind of help moderate some of the symptoms. And unfortunately, a really sad statistic is that most of us are exposed to over 100 different chemicals before we even start our workday. So whether that's you took a shower, you put on some lotion, you ate some food, maybe you live in the city and you open your windows and try to take a deep breath of what you thought was fresh air, all of those chemicals you're exposed to before you even start your day. So what is detoxification? Detoxing is about increasing your body's own ability to break down and excrete toxins. So by detoxing, you eliminate toxin buildup, you help your organs, such as the liver and the kidneys, which are some of your main detoxification organs, so they don't become overworked and damaged. You can cleanse the body and the mind of toxins and accumulated chemicals, negative thoughts, negative beliefs, and foreign substances. So like I said, this is a whole person view of health, not just your physical health, but also your mental and your spiritual health as well. It's a preventative measure for different health problems. So not only can you help relieve some symptoms that you might experience with detoxification, but you can also prevent health problems down the line if you practice a routine detoxification. It can enhance your healing for a variety of different medical conditions, and it can help the removal of the toxins from your system can help improve your organ's ability to function and absorb nutrients to accelerate the healing process. So that's basically what we're doing at the core of it, is that we're getting rid of these toxins, we're reducing the toxin load, and now you're giving your body the chance to breathe and say, hey, I'm not fighting these toxins anymore. Now I can focus on healing some other things that are going on here. It's not only good for your health, but it's also good for the health of the environment. So like I talked about when we were talking about the things that contain toxins, such as like those plastics and the different like fumes and car fumes and plane fumes and all that kind of stuff. So when you really focus on detoxification, you are actually doing things that help the planet and help the health of the world, which is really awesome to think about. You're not only helping yourself, but on a smaller level, you're able to make a difference in the world, which is pretty cool. So your liver is your biggest ally. When you think detoxification, we want to think about our livers. Toxins enter our liver either as fat or water soluble molecules, and then we can process them. The water soluble ones are usually a lot easier because we can kind of just put those through our kidneys into the urine, we pee them out. It's the fat soluble ones that kind of cause a little bit more of an issue. And when the liver can't excrete them fast enough, it packages them up in our fat cells and says, okay, we're going to store you into our body so that you can't do any damage, but the toxin's not out of your body. It's still there. So it prevents the toxin from being metabolized, which means that we can't excrete it, but it's packaging it away because your liver is saying, okay, well, I don't want this to hurt you. I can't deal with it right now. We're just going to package it away for later. When you detox, that helps to get those toxins out of your fat cells so that you can process them and get them out of your body for good. There are 3 different phases of detoxification, and the next 3 slides, I'm going to go over them. I really tried hard not to make it boring and super sciencey for you guys, so bear with me. If you have any questions, put them in the chat box and I'll address them at the end. But I'm just going to go over these briefly because it's not super important to understand the phases. It's more important to understand what you can do. So phase 1 is toxins are metabolized by phase 1 enzymes. So there are specific enzymes in your body that can help break down these toxins. Usually what happens is they make the toxins more water soluble, and then we can excrete them in our urine. But sometimes this reaction occurs and the toxin that it actually goes to break down, that what it produces next is even more toxic than the first toxin. So when that happens, your body's doing its best to break down these toxins to get them out, but if it makes something more toxic, it has to go through phase 2 detoxification. And a lot of times people eat foods that help to upregulate phase 1 detoxification, but they forget about phase 2, and then you get all these other like intermediate chemicals that get produced that actually cause more damage than the ones that you had in the first place. So you have to be very careful with this. And we want to make sure a lot of people need to focus mostly on phase 2 detoxification because of it. So with phase 2, you have a different set of enzymes that will take that intermediate product and produce a more water-soluble product that's less toxic, and it can be excreted via your stool or the urine. So one of the most important phase 2 detoxification enzymes is glutathione transferase. And you guys don't need to remember this name, but there's a lot of foods that can help upregulate glutathione, and that's really what we like to focus on when we talk about detoxification foods. It also uses like sulfur, amino acids, and another compound called glucuronic acid. So all of the foods that, like I said, when we want to upregulate our detoxification, they contain all of these things in them, and that's why they're so beneficial for us. When you have an excess amount of toxins, that glutathione transferase, which is called GSH, that gets depleted. And when that's depleted, if you don't have any more of that, you cannot continue to detox. So that's why those purist doctors who say your body has everything it needs, it's not necessarily true, because as you use up the glutathione and your body is trying to process these chemicals, you're depleting it. And if you're not eating the proper foods to replenish it, then you're not going to be able to detox properly. And if the phase 2 is inhibited, that's when you get those chemicals that actually become a little bit more toxic to cause a lot of damage. And that includes things like inflammation, oxidative stress, aging, all of that kind of stuff, like DNA damage. It can be very toxic to your health and cause a lot of different diseases. And for phase 3, this is just the process of getting those toxins out of your body. So the products of phase 1 and phase 2 reactions are transported out of your cells and into the bloodstream, and then phase 3 gets them out of your body totally eliminated, whether it's like your urine, your stool, even sweat, and that's kind of clearing your body of the toxins. So, signs you should detox. If you couldn't tell, there are a lot. This is not even a full list. But if you are someone who experiences headaches, brain fog, food intolerances, chronic fatigue, if you live in a city or near an airport, if you have sugar cravings, depression, anxiety, heart palpitations, diabetes, foul smelling body odor, meaning like if you have really bad body odor, hormone imbalance, if you're of the age where you have periods or you're female and they're very painful or missed or irregular, that could be a sign that you need to detox. Acne, especially if you're older, if you're an adult and you still struggle with acne, that's a huge sign that you need to detox. Bad breath, digestive issues, constipation, this is a huge one. Constipation, if you cannot get toxins out of your body via the stool because you're constipated, you can't get toxins out of your body. So just think about that. It doesn't matter how good the detoxification is. If you can't physically get it out, then it's going to just sit in your body and get reabsorbed. If you take a lot of different medications, that can overload your liver. Medications are processed by your liver. So the more that you take, the more hard your liver has to work, and then it takes away from the detoxification processes. Depending on where you work, you might have repeated chemical exposures, which can cause a toxin buildup. There's so many things. If you use pesticides, herbicides, if you're someone who uses Roundup on your lawn, that's a really strong chemical. So I don't think I even mentioned all of these, but that's just most of the main ones that kind of show you, wow, like pretty much everyone I know needs to detox. And I always recommend, if you live in today's society, you should detox 3 to 4 times a year. And when I say detox, that doesn't mean that, you know, you have to drink something that tastes terrible for 4 days and starve yourself. That is not what we're talking about here. And I'm going to discuss what I mean by detox in a second. But if you're still not convinced that you need to detox, you can head to my website, which I'll put it in the chat, actually. Let's see, hold on. Or actually, Stephen, can you post it in the chat? It's www.rootwellnessco.com.
Sure.
That way, there's a free downloadable questionnaire that you can print out for yourself and answer the questions and score yourself and see if you would benefit from a detox. So I always recommend people do this just because not everyone's going to be convinced, and you don't have to take my word for it, but you can see all these symptoms, and when you actually write it down and like look at everything, you go, wow, I didn't realize how bad I felt because this is my normal. So it's cool to kind of do those questionnaires and see where you land. So this is another really awesome thing that is why I love detoxing so much, because the moon actually affects how you detox. So our bodies are made up of mostly water, and the moon shifts water. So think about the tides, think about, you know, when there's a full moon, how the tides are much bigger versus a new moon. So the best time to detox is during a waning moon. It's a good time for letting go of like negative thoughts, negative feelings, negative emotions on the spiritual side of things, but it also helps to physically remove toxins from your body. And this is so cool. It's something that I learned in school, and I was just like blown away by how the moon can affect detox, which I think is awesome. So when you detox, what are the goals? Like, what are you trying to accomplish here? The first thing is to reduce your toxin load. So this is huge because if you're going to detox, it doesn't make sense to detox, but then continue to put, you know, that super toxic lotion that you've been wearing your whole life onto your body, or to use chemicals that are seeping through your skin that you know are toxic. You want to reduce that toxin load. It doesn't help to upregulate detoxification if you're going to continue to bombard your body with toxins. So decrease the toxins in and increase the toxins out, and we want to support the elimination process. Repair and heal the GI tract. A lot of times people who need to detox have a lot of digestive symptom issues, whether it's constipation, stomach upset, pain, whatever it is. You're not going to be absorbing foods properly. You're not going to be absorbing the nutrients that you need. So we need to fix your gut before you can properly detox. We want to combat any oxidative stress. We want to address possible food allergies or sensitivities, because a lot of people will go their whole lives drinking milk. They know it hurts their stomach, but they do it anyways. Every time you put that allergen or that sensitive food into your stomach, you are like tearing away at the lining of your stomach. You're causing inflammation, you're causing stress in there, and that contributes to just destroying the natural ways that your GI tract works. And when you can't absorb those nutrients properly, it causes a lot of damage. We want to reduce the inflammation. So that goes along with, taking out those foods that bother you because they're causing inflammation in your GI tract, whether you can see it or not. And then we want to reduce hunger and craving. So sugar is so addictive and it's so toxic to our bodies. We want to be able to reduce our cravings for those carbohydrate and like high sugar foods, and reduce that feeling of hunger, like that feeling that you're so hungry you just have to grab the next thing, and usually it's potato chips or a candy bar or cookies or whatever it is that you're craving. We also want to reduce stress and improve your mental health, because like I said, detoxification brings it all together, and that's why I love it so much. So how to detox. This is the important part. If you have pen and paper, definitely take notes. I'll see, I can probably email this to Stephen and you guys can have the slides for your own use if you want. That way you can keep referring back to them. So as I said before, reducing your toxin load is just as important as increasing the excretion of toxins. If you keep putting the toxins in, your body is not going to be able to detox fully. So that is the number one thing to do, is to reduce the toxin load. And how to do that? Plants in and around your home or your office are so beneficial. Don't underestimate the power of a houseplant. Some really good ones are pothos, the spider plant, snake plant, philodendron, and aloe. Those have really a really good ability to filter the air. Aloe is pretty cool because if you live in a really toxic space, or if you are a smoker and you smoke around your aloe plant, when you cut it open, the aloe inside will actually be brown instead of clear. So that's how you know if you have a very toxic environment. When you cut open your aloe, you'll be able to see the toxins that are in there. Using glassware. So stop purchasing foods that are in plastic. 1, plastic is so toxic for our health. 2, it's terrible for the environment. And 3, it's unnecessary. We don't need it. You don't need to buy plastic Tupperware. There's glass options, there's silicone options. All those are non-toxic. Plastic is just so toxic. And there's always going to be an alternative that's going to be in glass or some other non-toxic like silicone. Use reusable bags. So when you go to the grocery store, if you're in Suffolk County, which I think most of us are, but we can't buy plastic bags anymore. So they do still have those plastic bags in the produce section though that you can put your fruits and vegetables in, which doesn't make any sense to me. So just get bags. You can go on Amazon and get these mesh ones. I don't know if I have any over here. Hold on, I might have one. You can get mesh ones that are, $20 for a pack of like 10 of them. And they look like, I don't think I have any. But they're easy. You put your produce in them and you don't have to buy the plastic anymore. You can also buy reusable bags like this. These are silicone, they're non-toxic, they can go in the freezer, they can go in the dishwasher, they can go in the microwave. They're leak-proof. This is what I use as like a sandwich bag instead of using the plastic. I have bags like these little canvas bags that I go grocery shopping with. So there are so many alternatives out there that are reusable and that don't put toxins into your food. Plastic has, even if it says it's BPA free, that just means it has 3 different other chemicals that are in it that the public doesn't know too much about, so they haven't made a big stink about it. But there's still chemicals in there and it still gets into your food and it still causes hormone disruption. So it's really important to try to get rid of as much plastic in your life as possible. Purchasing organic foods is another way to reduce toxins. So I understand that organic foods can be very, very expensive. And that is a huge deterrent for a lot of people to purchase organic foods. So I always recommend, there is a website called the Environmental Working Group. You can go online and they have something called the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. The Dirty Dozen are a list of 12 foods, it gets updated periodically, that have the most pesticides. So things like strawberries are always on there. They're one of the most highly sprayed foods that you can buy. So the dirty dozen are foods that you always want to purchase organic because they're going to have the most pesticides on them. Whereas the clean 15 are ones that are, you don't really have to use pesticides. It's not going to be too much of a toxic burden on your body. So you can buy those conventionally raised. And that way you can kind of save some money where it actually counts. If that makes sense. If you have a smartphone, there is an app called the Healthy Living app, which I absolutely love. It's by the Environmental Working Group, and you basically can scan the barcode of any food or beauty product like shampoo, conditioner, lotions, makeup, things like that, that are in the store, and it will give it a rating 1 through 10. So 1 through 3 is in the green. You want things that have a low toxin load. As you get higher, it'll be, yellow to red. You want to avoid those products. And the cool thing about this app is that it actually tells you what ingredients are in there that cause, and what issues they cause. So as you kind of start to learn more and you're learning, okay, fragrance is cancer causing, and it's been shown to have cause tumors in rats and mice and other animals like dogs. So it's probably not good for humans. Now you can, when you go to purchase things, you can just look and see if it says fragrance on the list. And if it does, to put that back on the shelf and find one that doesn't have fragrance in it. So it's a good way to go grocery shopping and just be able to scan the barcodes, but also to teach yourself what to look for. And there's something called Kangen water, which I use at my house. It's a machine that produces 11.5 pH water. And the reason why I love this is because that pH that actually helps to get pesticides and dissolve oils off of my fruits and vegetables. So I soak all of my fruits and vegetables in there. This machine is expensive, so I always recommend, if you don't have that machine at home, or you don't have the means to get the water or purchase a machine, you can use a little bit of baking soda in your water and let your vegetables soak in there, and it'll help kind of get rid of those oil-based pesticides. The reason why you can't just wash your produce in water is because all pesticides and herbicides are oil-based. You don't want, farmers don't want to spend all this money spraying their crops just to have the rainwater wash it off. So it's oil-based, it stays on the plant, and then when it gets transferred to us, when we wash it, it doesn't come off. You have to use something that's going to get the oil off, whether it's like baking soda, or you can use some soaps, but again, some soaps have toxins, so you want to make sure you would have like a very natural soap, or you can just use some baking soda and let your produce soak in there for a little bit. Proper nutrition is also essential to detoxification. So kind of how I was talking about before, you have those enzymes that are really important for detox, such as like the glutathione. There's vitamins and nutrients that we absolutely must have in order to be able to detox properly. So the B vitamins are your main one. Also vitamin C, zinc, vitamin E, selenium, coenzyme Q10, and copper. Those are some of the main ones. And I cannot stress this enough. Do not go out and buy supplements of these vitamins. You do not need to take them as a supplement. It can be dangerous to your health. You always want to make sure you talk to either your doctor or another medical professional who's familiar with your medication list and your everything that's going on with you as a whole before you start to take a supplement. But these are the nutrients that we can get mostly from our foods that will help increase detoxification. So what does a detox diet look like? We want to avoid any processed foods. So anything that comes in like a package that has all these ingredients on it that we're not even sure how to pronounce, definitely avoid that. Alcohol is another big one. Added sugars. It's good now if you look, I have my drink right here. When you look, it says like total sugars and added sugars. That's a new thing on the nutrition labels. Always look for added sugars because you don't really want products that have a lot of added sugars in them. Something like this has 6 grams. That's actually a lot. It is a tea, that's why. But anything over like 10, think about you shouldn't have more than 25 grams of added sugar a day. And even that is a lot. So just be careful, with the items that you're buying. Dairy and gluten are two foods that even if you are not sensitive to them, even if they're, you don't consider yourself to have an allergy or an issue eating these foods, they are inflammatory to the body. And when you're doing a detox, you typically avoid them. Sometimes you can get away with some dairy products during a detox, but mostly, your detox is not forever. At the most, it would be a month long, but a lot of people don't need it that long. So, we try to make sure that people avoid those foods that are going to cause any inflammation. We want to focus on high quality macro and micronutrients. So your macronutrients are your carbs, your fat, your protein. Your micronutrients are all of those good vitamins and minerals and things like that we want to focus on. And we want to avoid the empty calories. So when you have foods like a cookie, maybe it tastes great, maybe it makes you feel good for the minute that you're eating it, but it doesn't have nutritional value. It's an empty calorie. Unless that cookie is packed with protein and healthy fats, maybe some like fruits and vegetables, which would make it not a cookie, it's not going to give you any nutritional value. So you want to get rid of those foods. We want to have liver supportive foods, which are your cruciferous vegetables, things like cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and lots of green leafy vegetables such as kale and spinach and mustard greens, things like that. We want to eat foods that are high in antioxidants, high in fiber. Fiber is a really good one because, how I talked about, you have to have those bowel movements in order to be able to get those toxins out. Fiber will actually soak up those toxins and help you excrete them. So fiber is a huge one. And hydration. If you cannot pee out the toxins or you cannot poop out the toxins because you are dehydrated, that is a huge issue. You need to make sure that you are hydrating with things like water. There are some really good teas out there that can be beneficial for detox as well, but mostly water. And then some supplements. And as I said before, supplements are something you really need to talk to someone who knows you and knows your case, a medical professional like your doctor, or if you see a nurse practitioner, or someone who is familiar with all the medications that you might be on, things like that, before you start taking any supplements. Even something as simple as vitamin C, which you might think, everyone takes vitamin C, you take it so you don't get sick. Too much of it can cause damage. It's not good for people with cancer. There's a lot of things that can be an issue with vitamin C, and a lot of people see it as such a harmless supplement. So I always encourage you, please do not take anything unless you talk to your doctor. So some sample detox foods. If you were to go on a detox diet, or if you were to speak with me and I were to put you on a detox diet, some things that I would definitely encourage you to eat would be things like cilantro and parsley. Those are two really good herbs for detoxification. Tons of broccoli, spinach, cabbage, good quality seafood. So wild caught seafood is really beneficial. There's lots of proteins in there and amino acids in there that are great for detoxification. Plus they have a higher content of omega-3 fats, which are very anti-inflammatory and really good for your health. Organic eggs also. Organic eggs have different fats and vitamins and nutrients in them than regular, not organically hatched or grown eggs. I don't know what the term for that is. Organically produced eggs. So organic eggs are really beneficial for your health. You can eat the whole egg, the yolk, everything. It's very good for you. And dandelion greens and Brazil nuts. So Brazil nuts contain selenium in them. They're one of the highest selenium containing foods there are. So they're really good for detoxification. And some supplements for detox. So again, do not start taking these, please. Nobody start taking these, but just so that you understand, some things that you might be placed on if you were to do a detox diet with a professional would be something like Triphala, which I actually have right here. It is an herbal supplement. It's actually very good for your digestive tract. So not only does it help heal your digestive tract and reduce any inflammation, but it also stimulates a bowel movement. So I keep these around because whenever I travel or anything like that, if I'm going anywhere, sometimes my stomach can get very upset, and these will help regulate your bowel movements and keep you feeling, not bloated or backed up or anything like that. It's a really good alternative to Colace or Senna or Miralax because it's non-habit forming. So a lot of the products that you'll see to help stimulate a bowel movement that are on the market are actually addictive. And what happens is if you take them over time chronically, you will not be able to have a bowel movement without taking them. And I know I see a lot of patients when I worked in the hospital, especially who had this issue, and they just could not have a bowel movement unless they took all of their, Miralax, their Senna, their Colace, probably all three at the same time. And Triphala does not do that. It naturally helps your body have a bowel movement without causing any addiction, which is why I like it so much. Active B complex, so this is your B vitamins. They're really, really important for detoxification. And most of the time, if you're going to do a detox, you'll be recommended to take B complex. Turmeric is another good one. It's very anti-inflammatory. It can help heal the GI tract. Milk thistle is a good supplement to take for detox, but it can interact with a lot of medications. So a lot of times medical professionals will tell you to drink milk thistle tea, which doesn't interact as much. It's a little bit safer to take, and you still get those detoxification benefits. Liposomal glutathione is another version of that really important enzyme that we talked about earlier, that glutathione transferase. So you can take it as a supplement, and it can help, increase those levels so that you have better detoxification. Spirulina is an Atlantic dulse. They're both, herbal supplements. Usually you can find them in like a powdered form that you put into a smoothie. These are very safe, but they're really good at getting heavy metals out of your body, which is important. L-glutamine is just another amino acid that's very healing for the GI tract. So it's really important if someone has a lot of inflammation or some other issues going on with their GI tract, this is a really good supplement for that. And then probiotics. The reason why probiotics are really great for detoxification is because the bugs in our GI tract actually help to break down the food that we eat. So probiotics can help you break down, the fibers and things like that, so that you can excrete them and package all of those toxins in there to be excreted into the stool. And some other some other ways to help detox are things like skin brushing. So if you've ever heard of this, basically it's just you take like a bristled brush and you rub your skin. You can do circular motions all around your arms, your legs, and that helps to bring your circulation and your blood to your skin surface so that you can excrete it either in your sweat, or if you do this before a shower, when you go into the shower, the steam can help release those toxins. Warm water, salt baths are also great. You'll notice that a lot of these things are really nice, like relaxing spa type of things, which is another reason why I love detox, because it's almost like it's just really nice to do to your body. You get, very relaxed and things like that. So with the saltwater baths, you can use some Epsom salt, which is very healing for the body. And you can even add essential oils to help increase the detoxing effects, things like lemon or grapefruit or fennel. Lemongrass also, like, these smell so good. So it's really nice to be able to add a little bit to your bath so that not only do you smell good, but it also helps to get some toxins coming out of your body. And this is a super easy thing to do at home, and it's very safe. So anyone who, if you don't have a sauna or easy access to a sauna or something like that, everyone can go sit in a salt bath. Saunas are great. help to remove toxins through your sweat, whether it's an infrared sauna or just like your regular steam room sauna type of thing. Either one is beneficial. Meditation is great. It can help reduce stress. You can do guided meditations that are specifically for releasing toxic emotions or releasing toxic feelings. You can also do some like grounding techniques by standing barefoot outside. That can help lower your blood pressure. It can help release any, like I said, we're basically just big electronic things. We have all these electronic signals going through our body with our nerves and everything. So if those start to get very sporadic and you kind of feel that like anxiety or just feel out of balance, if you stand barefoot on the earth, the earth's energy will actually help to balance your body's energy, which is really, really cool. And you can exercise. So releasing your toxins through your sweat. Exercise can also help remove those stored toxins out of the fat. I do want to make one point, is that if you are someone who has been trying to lose weight forever but can't seem to get rid of, like 10 to 15 pounds that you just seem like you always hold on to, that's probably because you have toxins stored in that fat and your body's not going to get rid of it. So what you have to do is you have to first get the toxins out of the fat. That way your body isn't going to say, I have to hold on to this to keep you safe. Once you get those toxins out, your body's going to be able to let go and reduce those fat cells. I've had a lot of patients who've dealt with this, and they've tried everything, and then as soon as they did a detox diet for a few weeks, that weight that they were struggling with was able to come off, which is really cool. And there we go. And then if you want to get a head start at home, you can consume organic produce, meats, and dairy. The animal products are so, so important to purchase organic. You can increase your consumption of those detoxificating leafy greens, such as like your spinach and your kale. You can increase the cruciferous vegetables like your garlic, your onions, your cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, anything like that. Cut out any of the processed foods like food additives, sweeteners, anything like chips, anything wrapped in plastic I like to think about. Typically, that's going to be a very processed food, so you can stop eating those. And then try to spend a few minutes each day meditating, doing yoga, grounding yourself with nature, whatever it is that makes you feel good. I like to go for walks. If you're someone who doesn't really like to walk that much, maybe just sit on your back deck or sit in the grass for a few minutes a day and just see how connecting with the earth makes you feel. And if you want any more information, you can go to my website, which I think Stephen put in the chat, but I can't see it because I'm screen sharing. But if you want any more information, there is a free downloadable handout on detoxification that kind of goes over all of these things. There's also that questionnaire that I talked about, or you can always schedule an appointment with me. My email is on this PowerPoint, which I'll be able to send all of you guys via Stephen. And even if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'm happy to help anyone out. So thanks for listening, guys.